Here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed.
We will never sleep, cause sleep is for the weak. That we will never rest, so we're all fucking dead.
No, sir, man. I don't like that crap. I'm a rocker, dude, through and through. Here's my favorite bands. AC/DC, Van Halen, not Van Hagar, Skinner, Def Leppard.
All right. We're on in 5 minutes.
We're headlining. We shouldn't be going on until at least 11.
It's the prom. It's over at 11.
Hey guys, what the heck is going on? My name is Sam Cox and this is the IMG podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are on season 2, episode 2, and today I got to sit down with the one and only Bri Bagwell, all the way from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Bri is a very inspiring person to talk to, and honestly, this whole entire conversation had to be edited a lot, and it was really kind of hard to keep the train on the tracks, like with this interview, because she's just a really easy person to talk to. We kept kind of getting sidetracked, just from stories or people that we knew, or just talking about life. But we did cover a lot of things in this podcast that I'm really excited about. First of all, we covered a little bit about her new record that's out. It just came out last month, and I will link it down below. You make sure you guys check it out. Go check out the whole entire thing. Add your favorite song to your playlist. I'm sure Bri would appreciate that. Check her out on social media, pretty much everywhere. We also talk about social media. We talk about the struggles on running it. And then we also talk about building a team and really just kind of finding out the things that you can do yourself, and having to assemble people around you to further your career. We talk about advice that she would have for people trying to turn their career or their weekend hustle or whatever into a job, which, being music. And then we also talk about her being a female in the music industry. This whole entire conversation was really good. And I wish we could do 10 of these with Bri. Maybe we'll do another one at some point. But in addition to the normal Patreon link that I post for Raglan down below, which, Raglan is the band that I'm in. And if you guys support the Raglan Patreon, you're supporting this podcast, because it all just goes to the same place. I'm also going to post Bri's Patreon down below. Help her pay her rent, as you'll hear her talk about in this podcast. So that's literally what it goes to. It's going directly to an artist, and it's really cool that she has a Patreon now. And if you want to get some bonus content from her, then go and check that out. But without any further ado, here we go, y'all. I like the big old amp in the back. Is that you?
Oh no, that's Paul.
Oh yeah.
I own nothing. We look at all these guitars.
Yeah.
We have like a really small house.
Yeah.
And we have, Paul's daughter counted them. We have 27 guitars in our house.
That's not enough.
It's and always room for more, he says.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our little like home studio. So if you're ever in New Braunfels, we've done a lot of stuff like Christmas songs and stuff in here, and he does a lot of guitar recording from here. So.
You guys live in New Braunfels?
Yeah.
Yeah, or around in the area, or actually like in New Braunfels?
We live actually like in Gruene, which is crazy. So
Hell yeah.
I know we walked Gruene Hall. It's like we're in like a super small duplex right now, but we're building right around the corner. But then like supply chain and everything's like super delayed. But yeah, soon we will have a place. And then if you ever, play down here, the dream is to like give the code to all our friends and be like, stay at our place for free. But that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. You going? All right, Libby.
Oh, congrats on the new record. Oh my gosh. I love it. It's Thank you. Good, you guys. I just listened to the whole thing. Paul really doesn't do social media either. So y'all are birds of a feather. Yeah, no,
I try to stay off. If it weren't for needing to stay like up to date, like with everything, I'd delete every freaking one of them, dude. I'm just like, I can't. Like
it's like a full time. It's so hard, and it's like,
yeah.
The girl that just posted, it was really well written, but it was like, hey, I understand that like TikTok is a medium for certain people, but you shouldn't have to like base an artist's worth off of one single app. And I'm like, I agree. It's like, it's like always more, and now they just keep adding, and like no apps are being taken away. So it's like if you do it every day, you're just consumed by that, and it's like a lot of pressure. I feel like.
And then when you break it down to like certain platforms have better posting times and stuff, because I just want to click the like when we upload something to Instagram, click to like share to Facebook also. We do that sometimes, but Facebook has like a different algorithm preferred time, than like Instagram does. And it annoys the shit out of us because like we'll post something and we'll get a lot of attention on Facebook, but then Instagram's like a ghost town. But that's just because everybody's like, I don't know. It's annoying.
Yeah. Right. Or whenever, when I do a reel, it will do well, but like the same video on a TikTok won't do well. Yeah. And then the other night, someone was like, I follow you on both. I'm like, you need to go post different things on both of those things. Like whatever you post on reels, you post on TikTok. I'm like, yeah, I know. Are you out of your mind?
Like, I can't make that much content. You crazy.
Are you serious? And I'm trying, you know, right now, I haven't really tried any of that stuff because I feel old and it's like actually hard for me and takes me forever.
Right.
But I have the new record out. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try some things. Like I will legitimately try for my PR team and everybody. So it gets really frustrating. Like I have to Google, like, how do I add a snippet of audio here or something? Cause I just don't, I'm not 8. Like I don't get it.
I know. Yeah,
18.
Don't even get me freaking started, man. It's just, you can't, I think it was like Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park was talking about the other day, like get off of artist staffs about like being active on every single, like how we're supposed to like work on art, like, we're artists, and we can't like work on the actual art part of it if we're so like on social media all the time, and it's just kind of, I don't know. But yeah, talking about your new record though, we're ready recording. So and I won't bore you with like a million questions.
Wonderful.
Because I know that you've probably done like 18 million things of press since it came out. But anyway, name of it came out August 27th.
Yes, Corazón y Cabeza.
All right, it's out. Guys, go listen to it. You post something the other day on social media, and you're like, I don't even know what else to say, but just go and check it out because it's. I mean, that's how you feel when you put out a record because it's like I've been promoting this freaking thing for, ever, and so there's nothing else to say about it. Just go listen to it. My favorite is Table Manners. That's a good song. That's like total punk rock. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be in like your new live show or not, but that's a good one.
Thank you. Well, it is now because that's like so many people's favorite song, which is pretty hilarious because depending on who you talk to, some DJs or interviews will be like, well, Table Manners, like that's really left field and like they're not really into it. But like I'm 35, so when I was in high school, I was really into like Yellow Card and Blink-182 and like even like Trapped. And so like I feel like sometimes your influences come out. So it's pretty funny.
Sooner or later, dude, you can't hide them forever.
No, totally. And then so I told Rachel Lloyd, my producer, I was like, I'm so glad that you decided to make that like a punk rock song. That's so awesome and smart. And she said, what? That was your idea. And I was like, was it? And she's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And so I'm like, I don't know whose idea it was. I'd like to take credit for it, but it was just like it actually, it's like explicit now because I say bitchin' in it and it's like explicit all over my record, which is pretty hilarious because it's like I'm switching a derogatory term that I hate that men use and like, using it sarcastically. It's not really like a cuss word for the sake of
you can't put quotes in a song, but if you could, like that's what it would be.
Right.
Quote unquote, bitchin'.
Exactly. Exactly.
I know. I tweeted the other day and I was like, it kind of sounds like, because you reference that and just being housewife stuff and like Marlboro Lights and whatever, and so I was just like, this just sounds like a Dolly Parton lyrics, like in an Avril Lavigne song or something, So I was
right. Yes, so, I love that. Thank you. I was like, that's exactly. And Avril Lavigne. I mean, like how much
I could hear the Yellow Card influence now. Like that, the whole punk rock thing. Yeah. Did you listen to Bowling for Soup growing up, or was that kind of?
I totally listened to Bowling for Soup growing up, and like. He was like, I've always heard that he's like the nicest guy, and he really was. So he actually came and did my new podcast the next morning, which I was like, why on earth would I ever schedule a podcast the day after my CD release party? It was, he's just super nice. And I don't know, just hearing his stories. I love the punk rock scene. He's starting a country project. But he actually played just a lot of Bowling for Soup songs, which I was super pumped about. That's what I wanted to hear too. So it was fun. It was sold out. It was great.
That's so freaking cool. I'm so happy for you. It seems like you don't have like a ton of stuff on the calendar right now? Are you kind of slowing down a little bit on shows, or are you just kind of like trying to be home more, or just like chill out? Like what's the whole, because I looked at your calendar because I was just gonna like plug a few things and I was like, oh yeah, she's got a few, but like what's because I know that, I say back in the day, but probably like pre-COVID you were like doing like 150 180 dates a year. Are you going to get back to that, or are you going to just do like less is more kind of a thing, or like,
Yeah, no, it's actually super funny because I got a new manager
okay
in July, and we're like in this weird transition because I have like a PR team too and a booking agent.
Right.
Like my mom was like, you don't have any shows this weekend. That's amazing. And I was like, what? No, I do. I'm going to San Angelo and Las Vegas, New Mexico this weekend. I think we're still figuring out. So like none of the shows are on the website, and that was this morning meeting.
Okay.
So I'm actually doing like a ton. I have
so false alarm. Go see. Bri.
False alarm. Yeah, we're gonna get them all up there. Don't you worry.
Okay. Yeah.
San Angelo, Las Vegas, and then I'm going to Waco to play Wade Bowen's.
There you go.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Which is exciting, and then next week I'm at the Tap in College Station, and then the week after that I go to Midland, and then so it is basically super full. We just so false alarm on that, but it's pretty funny because I'm so used to doing everything myself, like, and I have for years.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like trying to let things go.
Right. Okay. So that's one of the notes that I had. We started just kind of covering some of the questions I had with like your release and stuff. Our first record promoter said something to us along the lines of if you've got the means to do the things that you can do yourself, do them, and do them as long as you can until you don't have the time to do it anymore, and that way you'll know if like the job is being done right. So that being said, what all are you not doing now, and what all did you start doing by yourself at the beginning? Like, were you booking, were you doing your own PR, were you doing your own management, and what all are you doing now, and what all have you kind of handed off to other people?
No, I love it. I agree with that statement. The only thing I've never done for myself is booking, which I know is very lucky. I'm not all like, I hate when people are like, get someone to book you about like that. That's a really hard thing.
It is hard. Yeah.
I was in a weird timeline. This was like 13 years ago, and there was a guy out of College Station named Nick Ferrata that just had a small roster, and he was like, I want to book you. And I was like, okay. And he had me, Scooter Brown, Josh Ward, Cody Johnson.
I've heard of Cody. Yeah.
Yeah. Engaging her. Adam Hood for a bit, and Will Clark Green for a little bit. Like he was just he just had a way of like finding people that he really liked and helping them get started. So that was like really lucky for me that I've never had to book myself. So I went from there, to different agencies, and now I'm at a boutique agency called Encore with Ashley Morales, and that's been working really well. So I've never done that because I suck at negotiating my own prices, and it's such a weird thing. Yeah. And so I feel like that is, if you're going to delegate anything, if you can, of course, like that would. Right. But now then I've had a couple different managers here and there that I've tried out, and some have not worked, obviously, but I was like, I'm not going to do that again. And then here I am again, because I was super buried, like to where, like you said, I just can't do it all by myself anymore.
Yeah, there comes a point where you have to sacrifice like your free, all of your free time, all those things.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I think it's good to find somebody who's like, the manager's like younger than me. He's cooler than me. Like he understands like Spotify and streaming, and he worked with like Co and Colby, and like, so he's in a world that I was never in, that I don't understand. And so I think it's good to partner with someone who's like gets the things that you don't get or whatever. Right.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It's great. And I have a PR team now too. That's 8 women, and they are all amazing. But I think you forget, like you think that because you have a team that things are going to get easier, but in fact, there's like 20 people who need something from me at all times. Like I feel like I'm just as busy.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. For hitting me up the other day, I was like, I know that you're gonna say yes, probably, just because it's just your kind of personality. But like if I was like, I'm doing this thing, and if you want to do it, so. But I apologize for not reaching out to your PR person. But,
no, this is fine. They asked me anyway, so especially scheduling, it's totally perfect.
Just cut out the middleman. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because we had a TM that ended up graduating 3 months ago to like becoming our manager. Whenever we hired her on at the beginning, Autumn was like, "You're gonna love her because like women are so much more organized than men are. Like when it comes to like actually handling stuff, And so our manager, she has 6 kids, and so she's used to just like taking other people's lives and just being like, okay, here's what you need to do. Yeah, it's been
I
good.
love that.
It's yeah. So yeah, having women in the like behind the scenes, I feel like is like, something that
Yeah,
benefits.
absolutely. And they kind of aren't like, you know, do this, do they're kind of like nurturing, like sweet. And like my PR
Yeah.
team will text, congratulations things with like
Right.
crying emojis, like like
Yeah.
they're when they're happy. And
Yeah.
I love working with females. And I think like my booking agent's a female, so that's
Yeah.
pretty good. And she's been a long time friend, but she's been doing great. I've been with her for a few years, and
Yeah.
she really works hard for me. And I don't know. I'm a fan of it. She claws her way through life with me.
From your last release up until this release, what is something that you did right that you didn't do that you think you may not have done right, like on the last release? So, meaning you did this on this release, whatever that may be, and it ended up paying off. Is there anything that comes to mind when you think about that?
Well, it's funny because the first thing that comes to mind is something that I thought I was doing right and it still didn't happen. Like
Okay.
I wanted to wait until I had everything in my hands. I wanted the photos, the masters, everything in my hands before we planned any of the release.
Okay.
And like we ran into the most insane snags. And then we were scrambling, and the only thing I didn't want to do for this record was scramble. So I think it's important for me to say that because like
we say that every time. We're like, next one, we're going to just have it all done. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And it's things you can't control most of the time.
Right.
And it's so frustrating but this guy yesterday, he was like, I just want to talk to someone who has all their stuff together. And I was like, oh, no. I think it's important that people know that like I do that too, where we were scrambling a little bit. And like, I don't put that out there, but I like on social media, but I don't mind talking about it. But one thing I think I did though, right, was I overwrote for this record. We were choosing from like 50 songs with the last record.
Nice.
We were going in to record the second half of it. And Rachel Lloyd was like, I don't think that these are the right 5 songs. Like we were like about to record. And I was like, okay. So we took time and I wrote more. So for this one, I didn't make that mistake. Like I wrote so much and then we had just so much to choose from. I don't know. I think that's the best way to do it because you think you have 10 great songs and then you write 20 more and then they replace the others, Yeah.
What did you guys do on that side of it in regards to PR stuff, like with playlists or Spotify or anything? Was there anything specific that you guys did for like the distribution part of it?
Yeah. I mean, we have a distributor. It's always been really tough for me because I'm always like, what is everyone doing? Like, who is doing which piece? PR kind of overlaps distribution and management kind of overlaps PR, like everyone, but I feel like everyone was kind of working on playlisting, but we did do where we released 3 songs before we released the record, which kind of got crazy because then I have like radio calling my promoter and being like, which one's the single?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, this is how everybody is doing it now. And I know that it's a little bit confusing, but my Spotify numbers were so terrible that I literally had to do it this way.
Not that Spotify is like the end all be all or whatever, but there was a point where, I don't know, 10 years ago when it was like, how many MySpace friends do you have? And then it was like, well, how many Facebook page likes? And I think that Spotify is just now like the one thing that people gravitate towards, if that makes any sense, and it's just like the venue owners will, straight up tell you like, or, TBs or anybody will just be like, we're not going to book anybody unless they have like this many digits in their, Spotify. And it's just kind of crazy. Because some of my favorite artists like don't have like a ton, and you look at artists like, oh gosh, I'm not even gonna name any names, people with million or 2 or whatever. And then we take the Wilder Blue. We'll just say them. You know, I love them, and they don't have near as many as like, you know, somebody that's, you know, a lot bigger than them, but I feel like they have more diehard fans or more people that listen to, you know, all their fans are probably album listeners. So they might get as many streams as somebody is, you know, that has like 1 million, if that makes any sense. So
yeah. Or it's just frustrating because when I was like in Nashville and trying to get a record label, you know, it was like Facebook. And so I was trying to get Facebook and then Instagram. So I tried to get Instagram followers. And now like I've built a social media following that does not matter because they only look at Spotify. And my specific crowd is older, I think, because they've grown up with me and whatever my music targets.
They buy CDs and stuff too, or vinyls and that kind of stuff.
Right. Or they're on Apple Music. I make more from Apple Music than I do from Spotify. So the one metric that seems to matter is like my least impressive.
Are you surprised yourself at how like good the numbers went or doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I was explaining it to somebody who was a little upset about how it was the songs were being released, but I was like, okay, look, I started with this many, then I released one song. 3 weeks later, I released another one. 3 weeks later, I released another one. And then I released the full album. So by the time I released the full album, my Spotify listeners had doubled, right? And so now they've gone up even more. And so now everyone's like, okay, now you need to put out. It's just very funny because people are like, now you need to put out like an acoustic version of the record. And I'm like, what? Like, I think some people forget that these things take time and money.
They cost so
like,
much freaking money.
I'm out of money. Like I just like, you know, I mean, I just spent my life savings on this record.
Oh God.
You know? And vinyls and CDs and merch and everything. So luckily we do have the ability to record from home, which is awesome. But Paul's gone. Paul's been home like 2 days in the last month. So it's like when we're home, we don't have time to just like
just sit and like, record, right?
Yeah. It's like you can't just like knock out recordings, but people are doing that. And that's why they're having success. Like the people that are able to do that. I have a friend in Nashville who, you know, doesn't tour, doesn't do anything. And all she does is record and release one song a month, every single month with her producer.
God.
It's crazy. She is killing that game, right? But she's not doing what I'm doing. So she's looking at me like, you're killing the touring game. It's like, it's hard to be both of those things.
Yeah, that will drive an artist crazy trying to do everything. Like seriously, because it just, I mean, go back to the social media thing. It's like, man, me and Autumn, we were sitting at McDonald's like 3 days ago or 4 days ago, whenever like our record came out, and like Spotify put it on. Like it's the first big Spotify playlist we've ever been on. They put it on like the new music country or whatever, you know, and it's got like a shit ton, you know. And so, and I was like, now that like Spotify knows Raglan, like we got to release something else. We got to get it. You know, like in 3 more months, we need to like put out like a cover or a single or acoustic version. Like it literally exactly what you're saying. It's so, man, I wish that we didn't like live and die by numbers sometimes, but it really is. It kind of, it gets us indoors and it keeps us out of some, I feel like at the same time, because it's like there's certain markets where I'm like, I know we could sell like a decent amount of tickets there, but they're like, oh, well, yeah. And that's the venue owner was literally like, yeah, we won't, you know, bring anybody in that's not X amount on Spotify though. And I was like, all right, man, whatever.
That's so crazy. Well, I think there's comfort, like, you know, in having these conversations and just knowing that like, you're not crazy. I'm not crazy. It's very hard. We're not able to really vent to people that are not in the industry because they'll be like, you drink beer and sit on a bar stool and play music for a living. Like, I don't feel sorry for you. Yeah. And it really is like with this last project, I just put out 11 songs, you know, like back in the day, your record and my record would be able to last us years.
2 years. Yeah. Oh yeah. A whole album cycle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now we're already like scrambling, like, how are we going to get the next thing?
Yeah. And it's a deluxe in 9 months. That's what we got to do to stay relevant.
Right. It's a lot. I think like people are, well, and also like someone told me like, you know, it doesn't have to have all this great production, like just put something out. And that just like broke my heart. It's like, no, some people are going to make content for the sake of content, but that's not my core philosophy.
Right.
And so don't try to change like my core philosophy, you know, and Wilder Blue, same thing. They're not going to put out anything that's not like really great. Yeah. And so if that's not every single month, they shouldn't be punished for making quality, great art.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But you are a little bit.
Yeah. It's, you know, in streaming. So there's such a catch-22 with it because, you know, if you go to whatever artist, I mean, I'm not even joking. If you go to Raglan's Spotify, you are the most related artists to Raglan on Spotify. And
Wow.
then, yeah, I don't know. We get, maybe obviously
Well,
you and
I
Autumn
know
are
why.
females. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is, I went through this whole thing
Yeah.
because, which I love that and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
But back in the day when it was like Pandora and everybody, like
Mhm.
if you play me, you'll get all the other girls, right?
Right.
Or if you play the girls, you'll get me. If
Yeah.
you play Josh Ward, you'll never get me. So how is a female artist supposed to ever get like suggested to anybody if it's
Right.
just gender? But sometimes you'll play me and you'll get Cody Johnson. So like
Yeah.
how,
Doesn't go
but
both
I'll
ways.
never
Doesn't
get
go both ways for
suggested
you.
for Cody. Right. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you have a female, because but now, I mean, it was very smart of you guys to cross with Sunny Sweeney because
Oh,
you'll get
yeah.
her listeners. That was very smart.
Right. Yeah. Well, and and that's kind of, I don't know if you heard that song or not. If you haven't,
Oh,
good for you.
it's like one of the most well-written songs.
Oh
That
yeah,
song
yeah.
is
That's Autumn, dude. That's
good.
all. That's all Autumn, man. She's just, and there
That
was
song
a-
is so good.
Yeah, and
She killed it.
Yeah.
She was great. Like that song, oh my gosh. I was like, this is one of the most well-written songs. Kudos to Autumn.
Yeah, she in which I guess we can kind of relate, or you and her can relate on that, because she wrote the first verse about having to make the rounds and talking to people. That she wrote that about T3R Awards ceremony like I don't know 3 or 4 years ago or something.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just kind of those nerve-wracking, if you're not pretty enough, or if you don't smile enough, or then it's kind of they won't take you serious, or they won't they'll judge you for every little thing, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's kind of
those take a lot out. Like those are a giant.
That's a lot, dude. It's a lot for me. I couldn't imagine Autumn, dude. Like
Right.
Yeah.
I know her and I need to join forces because I'm always, I mean, she's not right now, but I'm always like, always have like a little bottle of wine in my purse or something.
Yeah. Well, hell, let's go
Like-
on that route. Just where Autumn stands on it. I mean, you can listen to that one song and probably tell where Autumn stands on it. What do you think the biggest difference is between being a female and being a male in the music industry? And I'm saying music industry because I'm not specifying it to specifically country. I know that's like your genre, but like, what do you think is some of the biggest things that people don't necessarily realize? Because there's a fine line between trying to make a statement and saying like, hey, this is like a struggle for me as a female, and then some guys being like, oh yeah, okay, I understand that, and then but you say one whatever, like, oh my gosh, be quiet, and so what are some of the things, like, speak freely, like, that you feel like are differences between being a male and being a female in the music industry?
Yeah. Well, besides
Super loaded
everything.
question, sorry.
No, I love it. It's just, I mean, it's literally everything. It's from the beginning of my career when there were some people interested in managing me 10 years ago that manage bigger artists in this scene that were like, hey, this is never going to work. Like, just moved to Nashville. There's never going to be a Texas female. There's never going to be a Texas Pat Green, right? And that was what I was told from the very beginning. So I was like, watch me, you know what I mean? But it's still true. I've been doing it with all of my ability and it's still not, quote unquote, like working, like, but,
Right.
and not for any of us. There has to, I'm not saying it's me, but I'm saying there has to, out of all of us, be one that it just works for, that pops, and it's like not happened yet. So
Right.
it's like, but it's also like, that's how everyone thinks. Like, that's how the people at the top of this business think, is that like, it'll never work. So you're over here trying to change everybody's minds, and just from the way that I act. I mean, can you imagine if I was breaking bottles on stage and knocking over drums? I've taken shots on stage and spit them back into beer bottles and had a guy say, well, I was going to manage you, but you're drinking too much on stage. And I was like, well, I was spitting them back in. It doesn't matter. It looked like I was taking a shot, right? But if you're a guy and you can be like really just drunk is your thing,
Right.
and it's cool, like that's never been okay for me. She parties too much. She drinks too much. Like, what? That's like their thing, but I can't be fun, but I can't be not fun either.
Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm like always walking this line of like, and then, like we're talking about, you want to be pretty, but you don't want to be too pretty because, I've gotten like, I can't manage you, my wife would be pissed, or like, I wanted to come tonight, but my girlfriend thinks I like you or whatever. Just even just things like that happened to me on Saturday. This guy couldn't come. And I was like, hey, where's your buddy? And he was like, oh, his wife wouldn't let him come watch your show. Are you kidding? Watch you prance around in those red boots. And I'm like, well, I'm on stage. Where's he supposed to look? Like, so not that happens a lot. And I think it's changing. I think it's like so much cooler to support a female now than it was.
Right.
Like it's great. Like festivals are changing. Like we're moving in the right direction.
Right. Yeah. I've seen, I made a post a while back and it was, I've seen a lot of male artists start to take females out on the road, not even just in like the country genre, like I went and saw Slipknot, like I'm a big rock fan, and they had 2 female fronted bands that like opened the show. I thought that was badass. You know what I mean? Take Cole Wetzel, he played in Tulsa, like in our backyard. And Ella Langley, I never heard of her until
I've heard that name.
Yeah. And then she was like on tour with him, and I mean I've just started to see like
that's awesome.
It's just like starting to become cool to like
totally
a female like on the road, like for like the bigger acts and stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. And now that being said, it shouldn't have to be like the cool thing to do. It should just be like, hey,
like like everyone has their like clique thing. Like the Lubbock guys are like, they take the Lubbock guys under their wings or whatever. Right. Josh Abbott has kind of always taken girls and helped girls out a lot, which is nice. But I feel like as a female, you're kind of just like, and then like Sunny Sweeney took me, like Sunny took me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're relying on, I don't know. A lot of the guys in the Texas scene have really tried with me. So it's not, I can't say that like nobody's helped me.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's definitely like changing, like you said, to have female opening bands. It's just like, okay, this is getting more and more normalized.
We're getting something. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was always like one female on the festival lineup.
Like the percentage wise, I mean, I don't know if anybody's really looking for 50-50, but I think it's just pretty crazy when when there's like two females like on a 50 bill lineup or something. It's just kind of crazy to me.
It can't be 50-50 when there's not as many females out there, but it's when there's none, or when there's, like you said, when it's completely underrepresented, but it's hard too now because of the way, the big booking agencies work. It's like they get their main artist and then they get all their supporting acts.
Right.
Which I understand, like business is business. So it's definitely an interesting thing, but it's not, my booking agent has shifted, and my manager, like, it's not about getting me on festivals anymore. It's getting me in good slots on those festivals.
Right.
Passing.
Right.
And to make a sort of statement, which is hard because it's fun to play those festivals.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of irritating. And kind of going back to, what we're talking about for streaming and stuff, you take an artist like you that has been relevant even before Spotify like picked up like a few years ago. Like, how many number ones have you had in Texas so far?
Like I think 7.
Okay. I guess what I'm getting at is you take an artist that, is kind of newer, you're playing like before them on a festival. You probably don't want to do that anymore is probably what you're trying to get at,
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, we are at a weird point in my career. Like, you're exactly right, because I have to be careful what I take for image purposes and for what's good for my soul and what's not. So what we did actually last year was we raised my prices significantly.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, it's nothing against you. It's nothing against your venue. It's nothing against your festival. I'm just not doing things unless they're this much.
Right.
And what happened was like really amazing. Like, it was,
you kind of weed out the shitty places doing that. Like,
totally. And like happier, and my bank account was happier.
Yeah.
and it was literally just like, this is not, it's nothing against you. This is just what we're doing now.
Right.
And that was really fun. So like right now with the new record coming out, we're doing more door deals and stuff that we haven't in a long time, which is always scary and humbling, but we're really trying, because I'm trying to be the girl that like can sell tickets,
right?
But I can't everywhere.
Yeah.
And so
you know what they say, females don't sell tickets. That's nothing
to do with all the guys that are playing the same bars that I am, but I'm selling
Yeah.
Has nothing. How about when that guy sold less tickets than me last week? Is it because he was a dude?
Right. I sell a female fronted act on a weekly basis. So
Right.
I know the struggles of it, but, and, listening to Autumn be heartbroken, like after every, once a month, just crying in the car, being like, oh, I fucking hate this, but,
The same.
yeah, dude, she's cried in the van, like just like after shows, just so many shows, just being like, why are we, why is it so freaking hard for a female?
Yeah.
But we played, this is 4 years ago. We used to play in San Antonio. We kind of had like a Monday slot that we would do once a month. We were like touring down there, and we're like, finally starting to build a fan base down there after about 4 or 5 months. And they were like, hey, we'd love to get you guys in here on a different night. And Autumn goes, yeah, man, let's do like a Friday or Saturday. And then like the TB was like, he's like, we don't really book females like on the weekends or whatever. And he's like, she's like, why not? And he's like, yeah, they don't usually like draw. And she's like, she said the same thing that you said, like if you have like a guy in here and nobody draws, or you're just like not going to have any other males in here, or like, what's
Right.
the deal?
A gender issue when that's not, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
and then it ruins it for all the other girls trying. I love that we're talking about it because, well, Paul and I have been together almost 3 years, but he's been in the scene for 15 years or 20. He's been, and until you're really entrenched in it, like you guys are, he's like, I had no idea it was like
Right.
this. My band, they see it every single weekend, and they're like, this is,
Right.
it's a real thing. And it's not like, I'm not sitting at my house like, I want to book a female. It's like, no, I'm out there. Y'all are out there. Like, we're like actually trying. I have an amazing team behind me. Like, like really one of the best. And so if it's still not working, it's a larger issue, and we're trying to change it. But like, yeah, it is heart wrenching. Like I get that crying in the van. Like I'll get after getting there.
So I didn't mean to get y'all worked up.
Oh,
but I kind of did in a way. So yeah, but
a lot of crying.
dude, one of my favorite, my least favorite things that I hear people saying is like, we'll play at a festival or something, and then all the other bands that are out there behind the, backstage or, whatever, they're like, man, I wasn't expecting that. Or like, you're really good for a girl, just like, man, there's so many things that like, people don't realize that they say that it's kind of like, hey man, you're actually kind of being,
but they do, they're always saying things where you're just like, all right, like,
okay, you're that kind of person. I will literally be like, all right, man, good to meet you. Walk off. We're at that point, man, where we're just,
it's very, but it is like how many female bands are there really though? You know what I mean?
right.
The burden on your band and my band to change the conversation. Like I feel like it's a giant responsibility. And so like my band has to be good. I have to play guitar and write great songs better than a boy can. Front singer.
Yeah.
Songs have to be better. The production has to be better. Like you almost have to out to where there's like, no one can be like, it's just because I don't know, whatever they say, like you just have to prove everyone's so wrong beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's a lot of pressure. And there's not a lot of,
Yeah.
Sunny does it with grace. Sunny really gives so many less damns than I do. It's so inspiring. Like I went on the road with her, and she's just the most badass chick. Like she's like, she'll tell somebody when they're being rude, or like that's, and she has no.
A lot of times, I'll kind of say what I think nicely. Sunny will say what she thinks every time, very, very how she feels it, and I don't have that. Sometimes I kind of, hey man, you probably should not say that, but.
I've been like, I told Paul, like, we sold out Gruene Hall on Saturday, which I think is quite a feat. On Monday,
that's pretty good for a girl, Bri. That's pretty good for a girl.
But yeah, on Monday I was still getting like it'll never work for a girl or what. I'm like, what more do you want from me?
Yeah, right.
Like I just want to ride the wave of this happiness for a second before it's like shoved back in my face.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very blessed. I found ways to make it work, and I have like an incredibly loyal fan base. But I know that I have to sell tickets to prove everybody wrong. Like that's the only way is to sell tickets in every market. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give this a run with this manager that has a really good history of doing that and this PR team. But like at a certain point, I'm gonna reach that's like, listen, I have really tried. I'm gonna write a book about it and I'm gonna put it out and be like, this is exactly what is wrong with this scene.
Yeah.
Because it's really strange. But the encouraging part of it is like it's changing at the award shows. There's so many young girls that are like, I look
Right.
up to you, and I used to be the only girl there, you know, me and
Yeah.
like Rankin twins back in the day. There's just always been only a few of us, and now there's so many more of us. So it's definitely changing. It's just a slow change.
Yeah. It's been a good year to like see everything. But I got a couple more questions for you. I'm gonna try to hold you up because I know that you gotta go work out. So
Work out. I haven't in 2 weeks.
you have
You can't work out when your record's coming out.
Yeah. There's just maybe if we had like 48 hours in a day, that'd be
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm too busy with TikToks, you know.
Yeah. But okay, so a lot of people listen to this podcast, and this would probably be like the last question I got for you. A lot of people listen to this podcast that are up and coming musicians, or they're people trying to figure out how to take their hobby, quote unquote, or what they do on the weekends, their side hustle, whatever you want to call it, into turning it into their job. What is some advice that you have for people that are trying to just take their career to the next level, and becoming your own boss? Like, just first thing that comes to mind, or a couple things, or
Yeah, well, don't do it. Keep your day job. This is the worst business. No, I'm just kidding.
there you guys go. There you go. You got it.
You heard it here first. I think that it's important to like realize that you don't have to think inside any sort of box. Like you can think as far outside of the box in this business as you need to make it work. Like, I heard you say Patreon. I have a Patreon account that pays my rent, which is insane.
There you go. Oh yeah, Bri. That's badass.
Candles that like not juice like prayer candles with a sticker on them that I can't keep in stock. Like just anytime I see things, I'm always like, how can I make money off of this? I do camming. I do I just crazy things on my website. Anytime I have an idea, I'm like, how can I make money off of this? I think sometimes we're like, it's frustrating because you write a song, it might be a great song, and it might be the best thing you've ever done, and it's just sitting there, and you should be able to make money off of creating something like that. But like, until you spend thousands of dollars, that song doesn't give you any return right away. So I think it's just important to be able to keep going. You have to find ways to make money, and sponsorships. I've had beer sponsors, whiskey sponsors. Like, people are really excited to partner up with you, even if it's not like a ton of money at first. Like, it can develop into more money than you've ever dreamed that you would be getting. So don't be afraid to think outside of the box. I might be partnering up with a boot company here and a few. I'm about to do some videos this afternoon for them. So
oh no shit.
Just,
okay. Yeah.
Some people are really excited to partner up, and I partnered with a clothing boutique where I got a percentage of sales for a while. That was fun.
Right.
I'm really trying a lot of different things, and there's no harm in it,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a term. I don't remember where I've heard it, but I probably bring it up once a month when I'm talking to other people, and it's called turning on all the faucets, meaning like getting like streams of revenue like everywhere that you can, because people think that to be a full-time musician, you just need to most of our money comes from live performances and being on the road and stuff. But but there's like so many other ways that you can just like grab streams of income, whether it be from streaming, which doesn't pay like a ton, but once it can at some point. I've heard that. I haven't seen it yet, but talk about Patreon for a second.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was pushed to do a Patreon during COVID, and I was like, listen, I don't really want to do this. Like, it's another thing that I have to do. And I'm like, the only way that I could make this work is if it was not a lot of work for me. And so I talked to this lady and she was like, I would love to hear like your raw work tapes. And I'm like, wow, you know, I have
cool.
hundreds of those, and I wrote for Sony for 3 years in Nashville. So I have like demos that nobody's heard. And so I just created this Patreon account, and I don't even have like a ton of patrons, but I have enough that it like I said, it's paid for about half my record, which is amazing. But being on the road, it's like I made good money this last weekend, and like the check engine light's on. So
there you go.
You know, there goes all the money I made. I'm sure, like I'm sure of it. And then Gruene Hall, I made a ton of money, sold out of merch almost. So on Monday I had to order a ton of merch. So that money's gone. Like road money, I think you like cannot count on that. So Patreon's been like a really good way. All I do is every other week I put a work tape up on there. And so I have like all the work tapes from the record.
That's cool.
Maybe all of them, but some of them. And then I released the whole album on Patreon early. So they got to hear it.
That's
and
cool.
then they get reads before the show, because depending on the night, you know, I used to sign until the last person, and like now in my old age after COVID too, I'm like, I don't know if I have the energy or if my voice can take that yelling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyway, I've just tried to offer benefits that don't take me a lot of time.
There you go. No, yeah, I feel we recently started a Patreon, and we were like, why did we do this earlier? You know, because it is for the most part, you know, it fluctuates. You get people that join and people that quit and stuff, but it's a pretty consistent stream of income. Like if you can do that, you know. So on your Patreon, are you going to be releasing a Bri and Paul acoustic EP anytime soon? Or
well, we recorded a Loretta Lynn Conway Twitty duet.
I was just kidding, but that's badass. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it comes out. I think it's going to come out like November.
Are you serious? That's awesome. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I want to do, Paul and I would love to do a record. He wants to do also a solo record. And I would we have all these ideas and just like no time right now. So hopefully they'll slow down a little bit like this winter, and we can get some stuff cranked out. Yeah, we do have a song that's done because it was supposed to come out in March, and then we didn't get the mix back in time. Yeah. So then we just waited. So that's going to be out later this year.
I'm plugging the Wilder Blue real quick, dude. If you've never seen them live, like explain it for me, because there's nothing that I can say that anybody else hasn't said about them, but like you know all those guys a little bit better, like their live show, or just like the type of musicians all them guys are. Like what's your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I actually, it popped out of my mouth one of the interviews I just did, and it was like, if they don't like quote unquote make it, whatever that is, then it will make me like not believe in music again. Like that's how, like they should be everything, because they are musically. Zane, I think one of the most, he's like a living legend to me as far as like a songwriter. Amazing. I have one in that is so good. But I will say, when you guys opened with him, he texted me about y'all, and he was like, "You've got to look them up." I was like, "Honey, I know them." But Autumn's voice, he was like, "She's so good." I'm like, "I know." Yeah. So
that's badass. Hell yeah.
And I think you're going to do more shows with them, right?
Yeah. We're with them in Lubbock next month. So yeah, pretty excited. Awesome. Yeah.
Tag along for that, just so
you should. Yeah.
And her, because it's like any time I talk to a girl or someone in a female band, you know, it's like there's comfort in just knowing that like you're not alone, and like it happens to me, and it's hard for me, and I'm in the band too.
Right. Yeah. I think one thing that they can maybe like take from you, you know, you're somebody that, you know, we're talking about, you know, Coetzel, and, you know, there's so many other musicians, whether it's, you know, we're talking about Slipknot, you know, take somebody that's like shock rock, or, you know, somebody like Coetzel that's like this crazy party drinking, you know, whatever kind of person. But you take somebody like you, and there's so many other guys in this music scene that are just from like just executing the fundamentals of music, whether that's like touring, honest songwriting, and just, you know, being just like a genuine artist. And then like if you do that long enough, and, you know, you keep throwing songs at the wall, like something will stick, and like, you know, you'll get traction like after a while. Does that make any sense?
Thank you. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I just kind of feel like I have no quit in me, and I don't know whether that's good or bad, but I appreciate you saying that, because with this last record, it feels like things are just kind of changing for me a little bit. It's been kind of like I'm getting texts from like Pat Green called me and was like, "This is a great record," and I'm like, "What?" it's
go.
like
Yeah.
maybe shifting mindsets. Like, I'm not just here because I'm the party girl that's on the festival. Like,
Right.
I'm really working hard at songwriting. Was I great at it when I started? No. I don't consider myself a great singer either, but I consider myself the person that really tries and really is disciplined about all those things. And, being on the road is like it's not easy. And it's like a really tough thing. And I think just not giving up in this business is everything.
Yeah.
But if you do, I get that too. But it's not giving up. It's like, it's the hardest thing in the world. That's all it is. It's just the hardest thing.
Yeah.
It's also fun.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a bar tab.
Sometimes, right.
Along the way.
A garage full of whiskey.
Yeah.